Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you I'm going to implement the method to add to do to Firebase Firestore. Okay, so I'm going to go to the create node, and basically what I want to do. So after all the validation, and now we are sure that this stuff is not empty. So I will go here. So let me just go to my DB helper. So I also copy this node added. Okay, copy that stuff, and so remember it's DB helper. That's the name of the class. Okay. And now we have access from the class. We have access to all its methods. So here you can see we have add to do, delete, and update. So I'm going to use add, and this add now, if you hover on it, now it only needs two stuffs, which is the so I can pass the title. Okay, title. Okay, and then pass in the title that the user entered the test, and I also want to trim it to be sure that there is no white space before and after the test. And now I'm also going to have the body, and I'll call this one body.test.trim as well. So guys, this is actually the method, the way of actually adding data to Firebase. And then I will use the then method to actually wait the then callback to wait when the response has been received. So once it's received, and whatever it is, if it's empty, if it's an error or whatsoever, so I can just use scaffold messenger, just show a toast, okay, more like a message to the user to tell them what went wrong. If it was an error, we show them an error. If it's more like a success, like this to do has been added, then fine, we show them as well. So I'm just going to use this and pass in the value, and then feel free to terminate this stuff and terminate this. Okay, so now we have that method implemented. I can remove this format. Okay, I need to format this properly. All right, so now very easy. So DB helper, which is this DB helper class we created here, DB helper dot add. Okay, so this one will give us access to actually add it to do, and then I pass in the title and the body from this constructor that this parameter that I created here, and then it automatically gets it and then add it. So right now this is in form of a datetime.now. Okay, so don't really bother yourself about that. We're going to fix it later on in this video. Okay, so that's it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a hot restart actually. Okay, so because I already created a function, so I want to be sure that everything communicates properly. And okay, so what I'll do, I will click here, and I will put in the type. Now if I type this, it's going to show me those errors. So I will put in a title, first note added. So if I go to Firebase now and refresh this, it didn't add. Oops, I think we have error. So let me go back to my code. We are seeing method channel this. What is wrong? Something is obviously wrong. So I can see, let me go back to my service. Okay, data db collection doc. Am I supposed to use await? Let me see if await is required. Add a dummy test and add another one here, and then save it. Let's see. I just hope this doesn't show error. And cloud Firestore permission, the caller does not have permission to execute a specific operation. Okay, I don't know what that means, but let's see about rules. Maybe we need to edit our rules. So allow read write if true. Okay, so publish it. Yeah, it has been published. And let's go back. I will do a hot restart this time, and then try it again. So I believe this time it should add. Okay, so we really need to give it a permission. So okay, so go here, and now let's just add my title and wait for it. Let's see, note added. Okay, so now we have a successful response. So let me go back to my cloud Firestore and go back to data, and I should see it, and you can see the parts the way I stored them. So we have notes, which is the first collection, and the ID, which is the user ID of the user. Then inside notes we have the two nodes that I just added. It has ID as well, so you can see the notes, my body, and this is the date time, and this is the title. So this is how you add data to Firestore. And if you look at this ID now, WTDB arrow, so if you go to my authentication now, you see we have two users. So we're going to check one. You can see it has WT. So I'm currently using this account as my Okay, so you can see the ID which I'm using as the doc part, the inner part. So we are going to use that ID to actually recognize the user so that there will be no conflict in terms of reading the data. Okay, so this is it. This is what I want to show you. So now you can see now how easy it is to actually add data to Cloud Firestore. It's very easy. You can see the inner parts I created. But if you are not actually identifying, maybe if it's an e-commerce product you are building and you want everybody to access the product, you don't need to put additional docs. Just use the notes dot collection, then you add whatever you want to add. Now that is more like doing db collection dot db collection. So that way you don't really need to use these docs anymore. You just use to go you don't need to go direct db collection dot add data, because you already created the collection that you want to store it, which is, you can call this one products and then store it. That is if you are building more like an e-commerce site or an app that you want everybody to access the data. But this, I'm making it private for a particular user to be able to access. That's why I use this inner parts and then just store it. Okay, so in the next video we're going to see how to display those to those that was added